I never thought I'd say this out loud, but here it goes. I left my husband and babies for someone else. Then, when things didn't turn out the way I imagined, I asked my husband to help me financially with my new family. But he said no. My name is Jessica. I'm 33. And I was married to Mark for 7 years. We have 2 beautiful children, Ethan and Lily, who I loved with all my heart. But love isn't always enough. At least, that's what I told myself when I made the hardest decision of my life. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a disaster either. It was comfortable, safe, predictable. Mark was a good man, steady, kind, and hardworking. He provided for us, never raised his voice, and was patient with the kids. But somewhere along the way, the spark between us dimmed. It wasn't that we fought or hated each other. We just stopped really seeing each other. Conversations grew shorter, laughter faded, and nights became a routine of separate beds and quiet rooms. I felt invisible. Not because Mark ignored me, but because I stopped showing up fully myself. I buried my own desires and dreams beneath the weight of responsibility. Then came Alex. Alex was different. Younger, exciting, unpredictable. He saw me in a way Mark no longer did. With Alex, I felt alive again, wanted, desired, noticed. We met at a friend's party. One conversation led to another, and soon I was sneaking texts and stolen moments. The guilt was crushing. Every time I looked at Ethan and Lily, my heart broke a little more. But with Alex, I felt a rush I hadn't felt in years. Months passed, and the double life grew heavier. I stopped pretending I was happy at home. I started imagining a life with Alex, free, spontaneous, full of passion. One night, after a long day, I told Mark I needed space. The next morning, I packed a bag and left with the kids. I told myself I was searching for myself, but really, I was chasing Alex. Leaving was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Seeing the confusion in Mark's eyes, the pain in Ethan's little voice, it shattered me. But I pushed on, telling myself this was the price of my freedom. Starting over with Alex felt like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in years, I laughed without holding back. We talked late into the night, shared dreams, and planned trips. It was the new beginning I thought I desperately needed. But reality doesn't follow the plans we make in our heads. Money quickly became the first problem. Alex's job was decent, but it wasn't enough. Rent, groceries, baby supplies. The bills piled up faster than I expected. I realized love and excitement weren't enough to keep us afloat. I needed more than feelings. I needed stability. That's when I did something I never thought I would. I called Mark. I know it sounds awful. Asking the man I left, the father of my children, to help support my new family. But in my mind, it wasn't just about money. It was about what was best for the kids, about keeping some kind of connection to the life we once had. I tried to explain it carefully. Mark, I know this isn't what we planned, but I need your help. For the kids. For all of us. There was silence. Then finally a single word. No? No amount of pleading, no promises changed his mind. He refused to finance a family he no longer belonged to. I should have expected it. But hearing that cold final no shattered me in a way I never imagined. For a moment I hated him. How could he be so unforgiving? Didn't he understand I was trying to build something new? But then I looked in the mirror. I saw someone who had abandoned her family, chasing a fantasy that wasn't hers. Loneliness settled like a heavy cloud. The thrill with Alex faded, replaced by tension and arguments over money and trust. The freedom I thought I had found now felt like a cage. I missed Ethan's laughter. I missed the quiet moments with Mark when things were simple. I wondered if I'd made a mistake too big to fix. Accepting the consequences of my choices was the hardest part. Mark's refusal wasn't just about money. It was a clear boundary, a line I crossed and couldn't uncross. I realized I'd been selfish, blinded by excitement and ignoring the family I once promised to protect. Alex tried to understand, but the cracks between us grew. The passion faded, replaced by tension and silent fights. The new life I dreamed of started to crumble. One quiet evening, alone in our tiny apartment, I thought about calling Mark. Not for money or support, just to say I was sorry. To tell him I missed the family we once had. But the words stuck. Pride and shame tangled inside me, making it impossible to speak. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe Alex and I will make it work. Maybe this life will fall apart too. What I do know is running away didn't solve my problems. It only made new ones. Harder to face, lonelier to bear. No matter where I am, or who I'm with, part of me will always long for the family I left behind. The husband who said no. And the babies who never stopped needing me.